Imagine a car in a cityscape, driving, passing bland brown vehicles while it's the one that stands out. It begins to leave the city and wind through a mountain pass to travel to a small cottage house. Looks nice, looks good. The car pulls up to the doorstep, and a lady walks out with a book in her hand and leaves that book for that person to read. What a long journey for someone to receive a story from someone else. And that is what piqued my interest. Yes, I'm talking about an Audi commercial, some sort of TV commercial that was for a vehicle that was trying to think of a really creative way of why you would use this car. And lo and behold, I press pause to stare at the book in the woman's hand. Yes. Yes, that is what I did. And I ended up finding that book at my local Barnes& and Nobles, and that is what I read this week. Yeah. As I went to Barnes& and Nobles and quest for this book with this mysterious statuesque face on it, all I found was a book by the same name and by the same person called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Except this is a new translation written by Gregory Hayes. I have no idea what the original Penguin House translation looks like, but this was my first experience receiving it, and wow. Wow. I bought a book because it was in a car commercial, and now I'm here to tell you how I liked it. First thing first, this is a different type of book than any of the other books I've read this year. This is a type of book that is a philosophy book. It was in the philosophy section. And so this could be a shorter review, a longer review. I have no idea. All I know is that I read it, and here are my thoughts about reading a book that was purely just so astounding in a car commercial that I had to go get it. So, welcome to the channel. My name is Graham, and as always, if you like what I do here, hit that like, subscribe button, and let's jump into this week's book review. Meditation by Marcus Aurelius, translated by Gregory Hayes, is fascinating. I can tell you that the first 30 pages of this book is written as an essay by Gregory about Marcus Aurelius's life. But those who don't know who Marcus Aurelius is, I think it would be fitting if I just read you the back of what this is, because I came in here not being knowledgeable in the Roman Empire, not really being like the stereotype of, I think of Rome every single week, but now I might. But Marcus Aurelius, Antonius, AD 121 through 180, succeeded his adoptive father and emperor of Rome in AD 161. And Meditations remains one of the greatest works of spiritual and ethical reflection ever written. With a profound understanding of human behavior, Marcus provides insights, wisdom, and practical guidance on everything from living in the world to coping with adversity to interacting with others. Consequently, the Meditations have become required reading for statesmen and philosophers alike, while generations of other readers have responded to the straightforward intimacy of his style. In Gregory Hayes' new translation, the first in a generation, Marcus's thoughts speak with a new immediacy. Never before have they been so directly and powerfully presented. Gregory Hayes is the Associate Professor of Classics at the University of Virginia. So that's what you get out of this book. Marcus Aurelius was the Emperor of Rome, and pretty much how I would define this is these, as it kind of mentioned, is like spiritual, philosophical thoughts of Marcus Aurelius. These are put into separate books. And so you'll notice in after those long notes, you will see that it starts with book 1, and there's 12 books inside of here that cover different topics. Truly just wanted, I think, to find out the meaning of life and why we're here in nature, and it created this really cool book for us to read. This book isn't a book I would say you want to read like cover to end immediately. It's almost kind of more of a take one of the books or the sections and just like read it and see what you get from it. This is a book that has like just stuff to make you think more so, and it's a whole other viewpoint and philosophy, I guess. So for example, it's called Stoicism, and it's kind of more of just, I don't want to say do unto others as you want others done to you, but it's more of controlling your own reactions to certain things. So there's a part in the book where Marcus is talking about that this person showed his true colors as being a liar and someone who doesn't finish a project. So why would you give him a project and then be disappointed that he never completes it? Like, yeah, you're right. I already knew what type of person that was. Sweet. You can relate that to business, essentially. You can relate that to anything in life, of like trust and everything involving that. And it was like, yeah, that makes sense. Use your mind. Think about your actions, is a lot of it, and control those things. Of like, if you're feeling anxiety, it says a lot about like, if you feel anxiety, stop it. And you're like, yeah, like in the modern time, like anxiety doesn't really like is something that you can stop, but I can see that you could try to change your way of thinking to be more in a positive light so you can accomplish what you need to get done. There's no like hate towards other people. It's not like that person's bad, at all, which like it's just like just based off their fruits, it's based off their nature of how they were thought of, and that's where they're at. And we need that to be able to have opposition in our life. And you're like, yeah, like everyone has their own thing. So it's interesting. It's a totally different way of thinking. There's a few standout parts in here that I really enjoy. This one, not for any life lesson. The reason I enjoy this is because it kind of felt like this was a beginning of some sort of like detective series where there's just like a guy in a corner, like, you know, like the black silhouette, and there's just like evil, the same old thing. No matter what happens, keep this in mind. It's the same old thing from one end of the world to the other. It fills the history books, ancient and modern, and the cities and the houses too. Nothing new at all. Familiar, transient. I feel like that chapter, that like a small paragraph, is like a beginning to some like epic detective or like video game or like something of just a dude fighting evil, and it made me giggle. So I really thought that was good. People who are really into Marcus Aurelius will be like, why is that like your thing? Hey man, look, I just read the book because of car commercial. Pretty cool. There's another one. This is a longer type thing, but this is something that also stood out to me. That despicable phoniness of people who say, listen, I'm going to level with you here. What does that mean? It shouldn't even need to be said. It should be obvious, written in block letters on your forehead. It should be audible in your voice, visible in your eyes, like a lover who looks into your face and takes in the whole story at a glance. A straightforward, honest person should be like someone who stinks. When you are in the same room with them, you know it. But false straightforwardness is like a knife in the back. False friendship is the worst. Avoid it at all costs. If you're honest and straightforward and mean well, it should show in your eyes. It should be unmistakable. So yeah, it's just a philosophy of being a good person and being an honest person, and it's really a discovery of like, don't be afraid of death and life. And I thought it was fascinating. This was written so many years ago, and it's been translated different times. I'm sure that the other translation might be different and more impactful in some sort of way, but this one, I enjoyed it. I got stuff out of it, of just being able to sit there and contemplate about life. Like there was a part of that he mentions death, right? Where he likens it unto an actor in a play. Like when you reach Act 3, the play is over, and some actors will be like, but hey, I only did 3 acts. And it's like, well, yeah, that's what the director directed for you, and that's what the director wrote, and so that's your ending. So leave with grace and take a bow and all that type of stuff. And so it's, don't be fearful of death. Do all you can in your life to be honest and true and to help others and things of that nature. And so I thought it was very, very cool. I don't know why it's called Meditations, besides maybe that when Marcus wrote it, he was in thought about these things, or maybe they say meditations so that when you read this book, that you kind of take it in as a meditative state. It was cool. So, how do I review something like this? Well, honestly, I've read a lot of other books that are kind of more self-helpy in the past, and what I always do is kind of based off of the amount of information that I feel can affect my life in some way. And even though this book isn't anything that we haven't heard of before, the way it's said and the way it's presented, it resonates with you pretty well. And so I got a lot out of it, of just different nuggets and different like things I want to like think more about as I go through life and be aware of. And so honestly, I'd give this book a 5 out of 5 stars involving that. Again, I've never read any other version of Meditations, so that's just for this copy by Gregory Hayes. But I really enjoyed it. And so, yeah, we got another book down this week for my Read a Book a Week challenge. To be honest, this was not the original book I intended to read this week. The book I was trying to read was... what is that? Oh my goodness. The Jade City, or Jade War. And it just is longer than I thought. And so when I was getting close to my Saturday deadline, I was like, you know what? I've been reading this like every little bit every week. I can just finish it because I was really close to the end. And so that's why I chose to finish this book and make this my book finish this week. Is it cheating? I don't know. But I was able to finish my goal, and that's good. I put my mind to it, and I did it. And this one will be the review next week, which is really, really cool. So, guys, thank you for watching. I know it's a different book than usual. If you see books in commercials, dude, just go check it out. It was a kind of a fun experience. I really enjoyed just blindly going in, being like, what's that book? This commercial was really weird. Why'd she drive all that way to get this book? And I went and bought a copy of it, and I enjoyed it. It was great. So do that. It's funny. It's cool. It's different. That's how you can get some inspiration or things you may not ever read before in your life. Anyways, thanks guys. As always, my name is Graham. My goal is to read a book a week, and so if you want to continue this journey with me, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you guys next week when I finish the Jade War. I'll talk to you guys later. Toodles.